So what we're going to do in this program is we're going to create some object-oriented programming, which is maybe a term that you've heard before, but instead of breaking our program into a whole bunch of different methods, we're actually going to break it into different sub-programs. So we're going to call this class basics, and we'll be taking a look at a couple parts that you might not have really needed to know before. So one of the things here is we're going to be creating classes, and main here is a class. So couple things here we're going to put in here. So the word public means can be accessed from other classes. So we're going to be creating another public class, and we need to make it public so that main is going to be able to access it. And then the other thing is, when we're creating these, main has a capital M. So this is classes start with capitals. It's one of the ways that you can distinguish between what is a class and what is a data type. So data types like variables start with lowercase letters. So this is an important distinction, and this is how you can distinguish between what is a class and what is a variable in your code. Okay. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a program to pay some workers, some employees. So the way that we're going to create this is we need to name the type of object that we are going to be creating. So we are going to be creating an employee here, probably keep it singular here. So we'll make 3 employees, make Jose, employee Panchito, and employee Donald. Okay, so what you're going to see is that the label for these is lowercase. So the label, often I refer to that as the name, is lowercase. If there were multiple words here, we would have it written in camel case. And then the way that we're going to create this is we are going to make each of them a brand new employee equals new employee equals new employee. Okay. Now the other thing here that we're going to need to do is this is a method. So methods have open close parentheses. Okay. So what we have just done, although it's not quite set up properly, is we have created 3 employees, and we are going to write a method that is going to control how those 3 are constructed. So this is a brand new thing that we're going to be doing. This is going to be a multi-file program. We've got our main class here, and what we're going to do is we're going to need to make an employee class. So the way you're going to do that is you'll have to make a new file. You can either click on the button or hit Control M, and this is going to be employee.java. Don't forget the .java, or it won't know that it's a Java file. So now you can see it's given us a blank page to work with, and we can switch back between our main and our employee. So now the employee is going to start like this. So public class employee. No reason I dropped down a couple lines. Okay, so it's going to start with public class employee. And it's very important that you keep the capitalization the same. So hopefully it'll be clear which tab we're working on. If it ever is unclear, you can pause the video and see which tab is highlighted here. Okay, so now our classes have two different parts. So the first part is what's called the class members. So this is data particular to objects of this class. So whenever we create an instance of the class employee, it's an object. So we've got three objects here. Jose, Panchito, and Donald are objects. The objects have the type employee, and then we're going to be saying what type of information they have here. So they will have an amount of hours that they have worked. And then the other thing they'll have is double wage. This will be the amount that they make per hour. So this amount per hour. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we'll use these two things to figure out how much we need to pay them in a particular week. So we've got the hours and the wage here. And now if we go to the main program and run it, you can do this to test to see if your class was created properly. Nothing will happen, but it will at least run properly if you've created this correctly. Again, don't forget to put the .java here. Okay, so now what can we do with these? So the first thing that we'll have to do is we will have to construct the employees. So we start off with members, which is usually a bunch of variables. Sometimes it's objects, and sometimes it's more abstract data types like a string. And then we have our class methods. So these are all of the actions that it can perform. And we always start with constructors. Okay. So now how this is going to work is we will start with public employee. So a constructor method has the same name as the class. So in order to construct this, it will go inside and it will look for a method that we create that has the same name as the class. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set our initial values. So let's set the hours to be 0, and we'll set the wage to be $22.35. Let's say that is the wage of our employees. Okay, so now if we go back to the main, what we can do is we can access those values. So if I wanted to, system.out.println, the way you would access that would be Jose.wage, and it would print the wage of that employee. There we go, $22.35. Now, to verify that they're all different, I am going to list them like this. So, Jose wage. So we'll add that on. Then we're going to do Panchito. And then Donald. There we go. Now it's going to display the same thing 3 times in a row here. So what we can do is let's set one of those values to something different. So we can make Jose's wage become equal to $40.35. and then you'll see it will get displayed like this. Now, if we wanted them to work a particular amount, we could set their amount of hours. So let's say Jose dot hours equals 10, and I'll do some copying and pasting here. Let's make them all 10. Panchito and Donald. And then what we can do is we'll display their pay at the bottom. So I'll copy paste this, and we'll change this to the amount that we are in fact paying them. Pay and pay. So what this is going to be is the wage of that person multiplied by the amount of hours that that person has worked. So we'll multiply by hours, multiply by the amount of hours here, and then we'll multiply by the amount of hours. Okay, so if I run this now, we'll get the amount of money that they get per hour, and then underneath it we'll get the amount that they get paid at the end of this. So this is just a very basic example of how to set up a class that has a couple pieces of information and a constructor. And then in the main program, we construct them. So this is the object construction section. So we declare variables, we construct objects. The name of the objects is in lowercase. The name of the class starts with an uppercase. We use what's called, this is called dot notation to access members. So Donald.hours becomes 10. We'll set the hours of Donald to 10. And then we can use them just like they were variables in our main program. So this is a really simple example. So we'll do some practice and then do something a little bit more complicated after this.